Hello. Have you ever been to the beach and been visited by a flock of seagulls come to steal your chips? I have. Today I'm going to read you a story about just one seagull who gets into a spot of bother, but he gets out of it too. And today's story from me is called Seagull by Danny Snell. Seagull loved to fly. It made her heart sing. Sometimes, when the wind blew just so, she would spread her wings and hover, floating in the mid-air. Have you seen seagulls do that? I have. At other times, the warm air would lift her up, up, up into the sky, high above the rolling dunes and the long white sandy beach. One day, Seagull flew in low over a small stretch of saltbush and landed with a jolt on the beach. She looked down and noticed that she was caught in a tangle of fishing line. How curious, she thought. Seagull took a few cautious steps, dragging the knotted fishing line behind her. How awkward! But when she tried to fly, the weight of the line pulled her back down to the sand. "Oh no," she cried. Seagull pecked and tugged at the fishing line, but she could only loosen it a little. She stood in the shallows and wondered what to do. Mullet swam by. Do you know what a mullet is? It's a kind of fish. "Can you help me?" Seagull asked. "I'm all tangled up and can no longer fly." Mullet looked nervously at the fishing line. "I'll try," he said, and he nibbled at the tangled line, but he could only loosen it a little. Seagull thanked Mullet for his help and moved slowly on. The further along the beach she went, the heavier her load became as all manner of things got caught up in the line. Pelican landed nearby. "Can you help me?" Seagull asked. "I'm all tangled up and can no longer fly." Pelican had kind eyes and a strong beak. "I'll see what I can do," she said as she prodded and pulled at the knotted line, but she could only loosen it a little. Seagull thanked Pelican for her help and moved slowly on. I think pelicans have kind eyes too. Seagull looked up and saw birds flying effortlessly above. She spread her wings and tried to catch the breeze, but the heavy weight held her fast to the ground. The wind sighed. Seagull's heart sank. Crab scuttled by. "Perhaps you can help me," she asked. "I'm all tangled up and can no longer fly." Crab had big claws and was very determined. "Let me have a look," he said. Crab snipped and snapped at the twisted mess, but he could only loosen it a little. Seagull thanked Crab for his help and moved slowly on. Soon, Seagull was too exhausted to move any further. She nestled in among some tall grass at the edge of the dunes and closed her eyes. The setting sun looked on. Through the half-light, Seagull heard footsteps approaching. A boy stopped quietly beside her. She felt his warm hands wrap around her. "Do you need some help?" he asked. Seagull looked at him with tired eyes and nipped him gently. The boy gave her a small smile and spoke calmly as he carefully plucked and pulled at the jumble of rubbish wrapped around the bird's leg. He could only loosen it a little, but that was just enough. The sea whispered softly, and Seagull rested. The next morning, Seagull woke to find the sky was wide and blue. The wind ruffled her feathers. She spread her wings and lifted gently off the ground. Up, up, up into the sky she flew, high above the rolling dunes and the long white sandy beach. And her heart sang. Lucky that lovely boy came along to help Seagull. I hope you enjoyed listening to this story today. Good night.